Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Shannon.
I'm Alyssa.
Welcome back to another episode of B Movie Bash.
Movie Bash.
This week, we're going to have a good time.
Okay.
So I specifically thought about looking into psychological thrillers because I figured if they were low rated, then they would be confusing and stupid.
Yes.
And I was correct in that assumption.
Yes.
So this week, it's not really a B movie. I remember this movie coming out. I didn't watch it, but I knew about it. It came out in theaters. And it is I Know Who Killed Me, starring Lindsay Lohan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it came out in 2007.
Yes. I remember when this came out.
Right?
I never went and saw it, but yeah.
Like it was a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a thing, let me tell you. So it has a 3.6 on IMDb.
Okay.
And a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh boy.
9. And apparently, I only kind of looked a teeny bit, but apparently it was nominated for a bunch of Razzies. I don't know if it won any.
Okay.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Razzies are the anti-awards. You have a bad movie, here's an award for it. So, yeah, people did not like it at all.
Okay.
And I kind of feel like 3.6 is a little low just because it wasn't terrible, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it is starring Lindsay Lohan, Queen of the Millennium herself.
Yes.
We love her. We love her. The dad, pretty much everyone in this was people.
Mm-hmm.
The dad was played by Neil McDonough, who, you watched The 100, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who Anders is?
Yes.
He's Anders.
Oh, okay.
So that's the dad. And then the mom, I recognized her, but I didn't know what I recognized her from.
Okay.
Her name is Julia Ormond, and she was on The Walking Dead World Beyond. I don't know if you watched that one.
No.
Okay. She was on that. She was on lots of stuff, but I just kind of pulled out things that I thought you would know. The dad was also in Captain America, but I do not remember him. He was someone named Dum Dum.
Dum Dum.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? I have no idea. But yeah, the boyfriend was also people, but not, I couldn't find anything that I was like, oh, that's him. It was just he's been in a lot of stuff. Let's see. The synopsis is a young woman who was missing reappears, but she claims to be someone else entirely.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to try to be the least amount of confusing possible.
Okay.
But I was confused a lot of this movie. I was like, what? Who are you? What is happening? Which entity is this?
Get more comfortable.
So, no, you're good. Okay.
Get over here.
So
I'm not looking at your notes.
So we open on a shot of rippling water.
Okay.
And there's neon lights reflecting in it. And it kind of just sits there for a second and then it starts to clear and we realize that it's the lights for a strip club.
Okay.
Okay. Then we go inside the strip club and everything is red and dark and, strip clubby. And we see Lindsay Lohan's character come out onto the stage. And she's in a fully red outfit. So she has elbow-length red gloves and a red corset and a black underwear and this skirt piece that comes off and all dressed up, right?
Okay.
And the music they used was obviously not like the music playing in the strip club. It was just opening credit music. But I was like, what is this song? I can't even pretend to sing it for you, but I was just like, what is this? It was like someone talking over music. It was really weird.
That's so fun.
Yeah. But it just shows her kind of dancing for a very long time. I think it's 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Of her dancing and people in the club. And she keeps doing, stuff on the pole and whatever. And she reaches up and at the end of the music, things start kind of transitioning to a creepier music. And there's whispers and stuff. And we get a shot of her hand up on the pole, and there's blood dripping down her fingers. And then as she slides her hand down, there's more blood sliding down the pole. Okay. So that's how it starts.
Okay.
But now we transition to a high school hallway where we can hear Lindsay's character Aubrey in there reading a story that she wrote for class.
Okay.
And she is talking about this girl who knew how to turn her life into a movie, and she could watch things happening as if they were happening to somebody else. And
it's called memories,
right? She was like, no, because she says it wasn't her, it was someone who looked just like her, but it wasn't her. And yeah, and so she kind of goes on with the story and says that the girl was out hitchhiking on the highway and this trucker passed her and slowed down, but as soon as he got a good look at her, he just couldn't get away fast enough. And he kept driving. And then she just like cuts off, and that's like the end of that part.
Can I tell you how glad I am that I wasn't in any kind of creative writing class when I was in high school?
Right?
Like, that I would have had to present in front of, because I would have written some really weird shit, and probably shit like this, and like, I was made fun of enough in high school, okay? Like, I didn't...
Well, like, the whole time, like, she's reading this story, and like, maybe for a high schooler, it's well written, but like, everyone is like captivated by her in the classroom. This classroom full of teenagers is just like, yes, tell me the story. And
about
like,
this girl walking down a highway and trucker.
No, it's not good. Like, it was just stupid. And like, everyone is like, writing is her life, and she loves writing so much. And like, she needs to keep working on that goal, because it's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she just kind of like leaves it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, give us more. And that's the end of that clip. And now we transition to the outside of Aubrey's house. And we hear some like piano music going on in the background. And we see this guy out front. He's kind of like their gardener, I assume, or he's like hired to do house or yard stuff. And he's just like trimming hedges and listening to music and whatever. And then it kind of goes inside, and we see that Aubrey is playing the piano, and her piano teacher is like standing behind her.
Okay.
And he is like the quintessential art professor type person. Like, he's got like circular glasses, and he's wearing like slacks with a button-up shirt and a vest over the top, and he has like this big gaudy ring on his finger. Like, he was like the artiste, right? He's that type of guy.
That's okay. As an artist, I hate other artists.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Like, anytime other people are like, oh yeah, I'm into art, I'm like, I have nothing to talk to you about.
I don't want to talk to you at all.
Like, and they're like, oh yeah, what kind of art? I'm like, I just fucking color, man, okay? I just like...
I just make pretty pictures.
I do what makes me happy, and that's all I fucking care about. And all these people are like, well, what kind of technique for it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I just do shit. Okay,
the
like,
manga technique.
Yeah,
I don't know.
When it works, that's what I do. Like, I just get so mad when other people, or like, they're, oh, look at me, I'm so artistic because I took a black and white photo of myself. Yeah. And I'm like,
cool.
Good job.
Good on you.
And they're like, oh, but other people can't take art or like take photos the way I do because I'm an artist. And I just...
Yeah. Sure.
I hate it.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe
that's so fun.
Gives off. And this whole movie, they tried to be so fucking artsy and stylistic, and it was so much. If it had been more subtle, I would have appreciated it a million times more. But we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So as she's playing, it like focuses on her hand playing, and it focuses on her foot on the pedals, and like it's just doing a lot of like close-ups of different, her playing and stuff. And she kind of looks over and she sees the gardener out of the window, and he's not like peeking, he's not, he's just walking by or whatever. But he kind of like stops and like, gives her a little hey. Yeah. And so she kind of like giggles and starts to mess up. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Norquist. I just got distracted. And he starts talking about how she hasn't been focused recently. And the young artist competition is coming up in less than a month. So she really needs to focus and all this stuff. And he is like, here, let me show you. And so he sits down next to her and he was like, watch this hand very closely. And he like starts playing it, however it's supposed to be done, I guess. And she was like, I've actually been meaning to talk to you about this for a while. I don't think piano's for me. She's like, I want to focus on my writing. I don't think I can do piano anymore. And he's like, but you have a lot of talent and you've won this artist competition before. He's like, isn't that like validation that you have the talent, you have what it takes? And she's like, I just don't think it's for me. I want to quit. And then it just kind of shows him pulling away. And then later that night, we see Aubrey up in her room, and she's writing at her laptop, and she has like a wall of sticky notes next to her that are like broken up into sections with different ideas and stuff. And she kind of like looks around and like picks one off and keeps writing and looks like she's like frustrated. And it shows her typing, and it shows her foot tapping underneath the desk and like all of this stuff. And then we hear Aubrey doing a voiceover as she types, talking about how the character has always felt like half a person with half a soul, and that maybe if she ever dreamed hard enough, she could pull those halves together, and like she only feels loneliness and she's so lost and all this stuff. And I'm like,
you and every other teenager in the world.
Good angsty god. Yeah, like... Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was a lot. I was like, all right.
I love how they're like,
every young adult novel.
We're relatable to everyone, and I'm like,
it's not that hard to be relatable to every teenager.
To a teenager, okay? Yep. Just don't talk in our slang. Music. Yeah.
It was exactly that.
That's so fun. I love that.
So now we transition to the school the next day, and we see Aubrey sitting outside writing in a notebook, and a boy that we later find out his name is Jared walks up to her, and he hands her this bright blue rose. Okay? And she's like, where the hell did you even get a blue rose? And he was like, there was just someone selling them on the street, so I picked one up for you.
Which means it's a white rose that
was dyed.
Yeah, that was
obviously.
dyed.
Yeah. And she like takes it from him, and she pricks her finger on the rose, and we see the blood start to come out of her finger, and she's like, oh, no, it's fine. That one got me. Oh, that's okay. I was like, great. Yeah. And then it like that was the whole scene, and it just slowly pans away to this like notice board, and we see there's like a few missing persons posters and like job openings and just stuff, right? And then it fades to black, and we hear a woman scream. Okay. And then next we see some frantic footage, because it's from the point of view of like news cameras, and they are following a sheriff as he's like walking up the stairs to the police department. And they're like, are you going to comment on the girl that was found dead? And they're like, do you think it's a serial killer? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we only have one dead person and you're already thinking of serial killers? Like, get out of my face. And I'm not going to tell you anything and all this stuff. And we realize that the person they're talking about is one of the missing people. Her name was Jessica, and she has been found dead. Okay. And they also make a comment about how she's been missing for 2 months. But now she's been found, but her autopsy report has been sealed so that nobody can read them. And he just dismisses them and goes inside. Then we go to a biology class where Aubrey and Jared are sitting next to each other, and they're all examining worms as like their dissection.
I know some schools do that, and I'm like, why are you dissecting worms?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
we did pigs. That was a lot of fun.
I didn't have to do pigs. I was in ag biology, so I had to learn how to artificially inseminate a cow. That was fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lucky.
But yeah, well, it's our teacher, like, he had a buddy who had a bunch of cattle, and what they would do is when he would send his cattle off to be butchered and stuff, they can't use their uteruses for anything, so he would send us the uteruses, and so we didn't have to go do it to a live cow. They were just like, here, have a uterus, and like, it was really interesting.
That's almost worse.
I know.
Somehow.
I know. But it was really sad because they did have one cow who was pregnant that they didn't know was pregnant.
Oh, no.
And so nobody knew she was, and they sent her off to the butchers and stuff, and they found out she was pregnant after, and they were like, we're so sorry. And he's like, I didn't know either. And like, it's really sad, but they sent us the little baby cow in the uterus, and it was actually really interesting. I cried the whole time, but it was really interesting, but really sad.
Jeez.
It was so little.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they're dissecting worms. And like the teacher's just like talking to the class, and people are asking questions and whatever. And we see Jared, who's sitting next to Aubrey, and he kind of like slides his hand up her thigh, and she slaps it away, and she's like, is that all I am to you? Just a way to relax before the big game? And he's like, no, okay.
You're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Like,
yeah,
okay.
they are. Yeah.
So, like,
and so he's like, no. Well, he says, what will it take for us to be together? But then later they call him the boyfriend. So I don't know if they were just like,
maybe be
basically
together.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he says that he's falling in love with her. And she's like, we barely know each other. Like, I'm not ready for anything like that.
Okay.
And I'm like, so which one is it?
Yeah.
Like, why, where, who, how?
Yeah.
Teenagers, man.
There's this whole scene, actually, there's a joke in Family Guy where this guy walks up to a girl in a high school hallway and stuff. And she's like, hey, Tyler. And he was like, hey. And she was like, am I going to see you like in class later? And he's like, yeah, I'll see you there. And then she starts crying and like jumps out of a window and stuff. And the joke is like, men, we don't know what we did, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what he did wrong? And Zach was like, no. And I was like, he didn't ask her to walk to class with him. And he was like, what? Why would I like? And I was like, exactly. Like,
you don't know.
You don't know. It's just,
that's funny.
And he was like, how would you have picked that up? I was like, she's very much like, hey, am I gonna see you in class? And he's like, yeah, I'll see you there. Not like, yeah, you want to go there?
Let's
like,
go.
Let's go.
I'm on my way.
Yeah,
hey.
like, just it was silly. Nice. It was really silly.
It's
yeah,
very true though.
High school girls get worked up over nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, she says that like they don't know each other that well, and she's like, it's gonna take more than one rose, okay? I was like, all right, bitch. Cool.
I didn't get a flower from a guy in school ever.
No.
Like, so for him to bring you a flower, that's
you're just gonna be a bitch about it.
Yep. Okay, I guess I'm not getting you any flowers then.
But yeah, so the teacher comes around, and like because they're talking, she interrupts them, right? And she's like, Jared, can you point out to me the female reproductive organs? And he's like, oh, yeah, they're right here. And he like moves his microscope. And she's like, actually, those are the male reproductive organs because worms have both. Right? And everyone kind of like chuckles and whatever.
I hate when they do that because it's like,
yeah, I'm learning. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't already know this. Like,
yeah. But I think it was more like, you're not paying attention and you should have already done this, you know, but still.
Yeah.
So he finds the male reproductive organs, and Aubrey like leans over and she's like, looks like you need more experience with the female anatomy. I'm like,
yeah, bitch, I'm trying to do.
Yeah, like... yeah, I was like, do you want it or not? Because that's what he's doing.
Bitch.
Yeah. Like... But we see that another teacher walks into the room, and so the biology teacher goes over to talk to him, and she kind of is like, oh my god. And she turns around and she tells everybody that Jessica's body has been found, but she doesn't have any more details, so don't ask questions.
Why would they announce that like that?
I don't know. Because what's even weirder is I was so confused on if this was a college campus or a high school. Because at some point, Aubrey says that she's going to move away for school, but then also Jessica is 19. So I'm like, was she an upperclassman that like everyone knew because it's a small town? Or is this college and I'm just like insane? Like, what is happening? I don't know. But I think it's high school. So I was very confused.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's
but
weird.
She kind of announced, she just announces that and everyone's like, oh my god, you know, like crazy.
Okay.
Next we see a man who is sitting in a courtroom by himself and he's like taking notes on the autopsy recording for Jessica, and it like focuses on his feet and his typing and and then it goes to seeing Jessica and the parents are there to identify the body, and we hear the autopsy recording, you know, playing on top of this, and it says that her arm was removed and that her leg from the knee down was amputated, and she has like all these lacerations and stuff, and they kind of pull back the sheet and the mom just like loses it and you know is like super sad, which obviously yikes. And they also say that it appears that she was given large amounts of amphetamines which forced her to stay awake during the amputations. So he like wanted her to watch.
Sad.
Yeah. And like they talked about how the cuts were like jagged because she was like moving and struggling and awake during it all.
Oh.
So that's fun.
Poor girl.
Yeah. So we go back to Aubrey's house and we see the gardener, who, for the record, is not an attractive person. Okay? Like, I looked him up now, and now that he's an older gentleman, he is very handsome, but in this movie, he is not what they were going for at all.
Does he have a name, or is he just like the gardener?
I don't think he has a name. They never named him. I don't know if he is in the credits, though. But anyway, we see him, like, he's feeding branches through a wood chipper, blah, 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 and Aubrey pulls up in her car, and she's, like, staring at him in her rearview mirror, and he notices, and so he, like, takes off his shirt, and, you know, is trying to be, like, hot guy, and, like, he's just not, like, I was expecting, like, Hemsworth, okay? Like, you know, if you're gonna get a guy in here to purposefully be the hot guy that takes his shirt off, like, do something for it. Yeah. Make it matter. Yeah. It was not. Okay. And he also had a very weird tattoo over one nipple. It was kind of like tribal-y.
Just over the nipple.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like maybe 3 inches. Okay. Just over the nipple. It was weird. Yeah. But anyway, so he like takes off his shirt and he's trying to be all hot and whatever. And Aubrey gets out of the car and she kind of like gives him eyes, right? And then she turns away and flips him off and walks inside.
Fuck that. Like, she's just a bitch. Okay.
Yep. So later that night, we see everybody at a football game. And at the beginning of the game, the announcer guy is like talking about how Jessica's body was found and they're all so sad about it and all this stuff.
Why are they announcing this shit?
I don't know. But they have a moment of silence.
Okay, I guess.
But at the end of it, he's like, now let's get out there and win this for Jessica! I was like, are you shitting me? Are you? No, I'm not. That's what happened.
That's bad.
Yeah. I was like, that's not what you do. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, so they start playing and we see that the home team is the blue uniforms and the opposing team is wearing white and red. And as the game goes on, each time someone gets tackled, they do kind of like a freeze frame and the screen like is blue. And then the other one, it's like red, or it like highlights the blue uniform, and like it's very
artistic,
focused on.
Okay.
Yeah. And they will like do shots of the crowd where everything is black and white and in slow motion, except for the things that are blue. Like Aubrey has the rose and people are waving blue flags, and like that's a theme.
Okay.
Right? And the guys are down in a huddle and Jared is down on the field and he takes off his helmet and looks up at Aubrey and she kind of like waves the rose and like blows him a kiss.
Okay.
I'm like, well, whose side are you
Yeah.
on? What is happening?
Yeah.
Do or don't.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. So after the game, Aubrey and her two friends are walking around, and it's like fucking, there's just massive crowds of people. Like, you know, Paint the Town Red that we do here? It's like that.
Okay.
Where it's just, streets are full of people after this huge game, right? I don't know if it's like homecoming or what exactly. But they're walking around, and it's just super crowded. And they keep doing these weird, like, slow motion, like, echoey, like, you would feel, like, confused or, you know, like, it's kind of that. And then it goes into regular talking, and then it goes back into it. And I was like, I don't know.
So they're trying to psychologically fuck you up before
Yeah.
anything else, so that you
Before
go into this being
happens.
like, yes,
I guess.
this makes sense. Yeah. This movie is perfect.
Yeah. But we hear an announcement that I don't know if it's like the cops, like, you know, with their megaphones or what, but it says that curfew for anyone under 21 is in an hour. So, like, get your partying done. You know, you're going to have to leave. And then one of the friends jokes about, you know, Aubrey, why don't you just get married to Jared and go have a bunch of babies? Ha ha ha. And she's like, no, I'm not going to sleep with someone that I'm not in love with and all this stuff. And she's like, I'm moving across the country in January anyway, which I'm like, okay. And she's like, I don't have time to fall in love with somebody, is what she says.
Why is she moving in January?
That's what I don't get.
No school session starts
unless
right?
she's like graduating early,
maybe,
and starting in the January semester. But that's why I'm like, is she moving from one college to another? Is it high school to college? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she is graduating early, but like,
I don't know. But yeah, so they're just walking, and then it's like a new scene, but they're still walking, just in like a different spot.
Okay.
And it does the whole like distorted thing again. And then we come into the conversation when the friend is talking about how crowded the street is, and she's like there's so many people, someone could get stabbed and you would never know like who did it, kind of a thing. She's like, it's like Mardi Gras out here. And Aubrey says that she read something about this guy who goes into movie theaters and sits behind people, and he takes a needle and stabs them in like a specific place on their neck or like their ear, and they die instantly. And like no one realizes you're dead until you don't leave the theater.
Okay.
I was like, that's random.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the scene.
Okay.
But they meet up with some other friends, and she thinks she sees Jared down the street. So she's like, I'm going to go find him. And they're like, wait, what are we going to... Okay. And she's like, I'll just meet you in front of the theater at 11. I'll be back, okay? And so she starts walking down, and there's just people driving up and down the road, and she sees the gardener guy driving his truck down the road, but he's like drinking a beer, and she's like, stay away from him.
Yeah.
And we keep seeing like her from the perspective of a car, kind of a thing. And it kind of fades, and we now see the friends who are standing outside the theater looking and yelling for Aubrey. And their acting was atrocious. Yeah. It was not good at all. But they're like yelling out for her. And one of the friends is like, I'm going to call her again. You call Jared's cell phone. And she's like, okay. And so they're both calling. And they hear a cell phone ringing from around the corner. And they're like, oh, shit. And so they start running. And Jared walks up. And he's like, oh, hey, where's Aubrey? And they're like, she was supposed to be with you. Yeah. And so they panic. And he's like, well, where did she park her car? And so they go to find the car. And it's still parked where it was, and her blue rose is sitting on the dashboard. Okay. So we now hear Aubrey whimpering, and we see that she's in like a dark basement. And someone is walking around with a flashlight, and suddenly these bright lights above her are turned on, and we can see that she is tied to a table, and she's gagged. And the kidnapper forces a blue pill in her mouth and like shoves the gag back in so she can't spit it out. And he pulls a cooler over, and we see that it's filled with blocks of dry ice. And she immediately like panics and is like screaming and thrashing and going crazy. Then it cuts to Aubrey's house the next morning, and the parents are talking to the police, and the dad is talking about how her whole life is on this laptop because she just loved to write so much. And, you know, if anything, there might be an answer in there. And so the police ask if they can take it and get a copy of the hard drive. And they're like, well, would she have run away? Was she unhappy about anything? And the dad is like, no, like, I really don't think so. I don't know what happened. Things were fine. And then we switch to the mom, who is upstairs in Aubrey's room with a lady detective. I think her name was Julie. Or the detective is like, well, do you remember how she was feeling when she left? What was she wearing? How did she seem? You know, all this stuff. And the mom is like, I don't know. Like, I used to worry about that stuff all the time, and I would remember exactly what she was wearing when she left the house, but they always come back. You know, she just tell that she's getting super emotional about it. And then we go back to the basement where we can see like things better because there's light and there's like a fire going, and we see that there are dozens of prosthetic legs hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
That's never explained.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So it pans over to Aubrey, and her hand has a block of dry ice on top of it, and it's clamped to the bed.
Ugh.
So she cannot move.
Ugh.
And the guy comes over, and we like don't really ever get to see him until the very end, but we see that he's wearing like blue medical gloves.
Okay.
And it also shows us that there's like a tray of instruments, but they're all made of blue glass. There's like a little like hatchet type one, and like one that's like a corkscrew. There's like, it's weird.
Okay.
But they're all blue, like see-through glass, which
Okay.
seems weird for
That
tools.
is weird, yeah.
But okay. It's one of those artistic things.
Okay.
And he starts taking off the block of ice, and it like pulls the skin off of her fingers. And they did very well with all of this. Like all of the gore in this was really nasty.
Yeah.
So if you don't like gore, probably don't watch this. But she's, you know, screaming and crying, obviously. And then he like pours this blue liquid on top of her hand. I have no idea if it's supposed to be like medical. It looked like blue, just goo.
Okay.
Like it was thick and syrupy. I don't know. It was weird.
Okay.
But he pours that on top of her fingers. And then he he picks up one of the tools that's like a glass blade. And he like shows it and like puts it on her face and is being all creepy about it. And then he starts sawing through her fingers. Okay.
Okay.
And then it shows clips of like people walking with dogs through the fields looking for Aubrey, and there's like search teams all over. And then we see the police department where there are pictures of like missing girls hung up, and they're like, they have strings connecting, you know, all the cases. And we flash back to Aubrey, and it shows her trying to reach for one of the instruments on the table, but she can't get to it. Next we see a woman who is driving in a car, and she's talking on the phone while she's driving on the highway, and she's just like very emotional over something. And all of a sudden a coyote runs out in front of her, so she swerves off the road, and as she's like backing up to get back on the road, she can see Aubrey lying in the ditch. And so she's like, are you okay? You know, like goes up and calls the police, obviously. And we see the dad lying on the couch, and he gets a call that Aubrey's been found and that she's alive and all this stuff. And it switches to the hospital where Aubrey is on the operating table, and she wakes up while they're doing surgery. And so they have to like give her extra drugs, and it like flashes, like she's laying there in the hospital bed, but then it kind of flashes to her like tied up, like she's remembering being sedated and all this stuff. And it shows them like with a bone saw, like having to amputate her arm and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't show like them cutting, but it shows the saw. And then she wakes up, and there's a nurse, and she's like, hey, beautiful, no one expected to see those eyes this soon, like let me go get the doctor. Because she's like, she doesn't know where she is, you know. She's like, what hospital is this? What am I doing? And so she goes to get the doctor, and once she's alone, Aubrey looks down and sees that her leg is like wrapped up and it's propped in a sling, and it's very obviously amputated from the knee down. And then she also realizes that her right hand is amputated as well. And so she starts like freaking out and crying, and yeah. We flash back to the police department, and the detective tells the sheriff that they shouldn't tell the press that she's been found, so that they can like try to solve this under wraps kind of thing. And they talk about how she's been missing for 18 days. Like, that's a long-ass time.
That's a long-ass time.
To be missing and not dead.
Yeah.
Yikes. But the sheriff is like, yeah, the kidnapper must have been done with her and just, like, dumped her and left her. But the girl detective, Julie, is like, well, I think she escaped because he only started amputating on her, but I think Jessica, like, more had happened. And he mentions that it's weird that the killer also cut off her fingers and then sewed them back onto the hand. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
And then another detective talks about how Jennifer drowned. Jessica? Jessica.
Yeah.
Drowned. And so she feels like he likes the torture, but he doesn't like doing the killing. And so, like, he left Jessica to die in a pool or the water or whatever. And he dumped Aubrey, assuming that she would die before someone found her. And then we flash back to the hospital bed, and we see the parents like leaning over Aubrey, and they're in like masks and scrubs and stuff. And they're like, hi honey, like we missed you so much, you'll be home soon. And she's like, who are you and who is Aubrey? And the mom is like, okay. And just like has a breakdown. And you could just kind of hear her like in the background, Aubrey being like, who is Aubrey? What am I doing here? What are you talking about? And then it switches to her in like not an ICU room, and she has a psychiatrist sitting down there with her. And he starts one of his recordings and he's like, I'm here with Aubrey Fleming. And she's like, that's not my name. And he's like, okay, well, what do I call you? And she's like, my real name would be nice. And so he starts a new recording and he's like, okay, I'm here with Dakota Moss. And she's like, thank you. And she's like, I'm really not Aubrey. And he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to get some basic information from you. And it shows his pad of paper. And on one side, it has all of Aubrey's information, like her birthday, her social, all of that stuff. And then on the other side, it's for Dakota. And he asks for her birthday, and it's the same one. And then he asks for her social, and she's like, I don't have one. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I was raised by a crack addict she didn't want the world to know about me, I guess. And so I never got a social security number, and I just made up one when I needed it. Like, I don't think that's how it works.
No, let me tell you one thing, though. I cannot tell you my social security number.
Oh, really?
I can't. No, I can't. I just can't.
I've had mine memorized for a long time.
Zach almost has mine memorized, so we're fine there. If she's a teenager and he's like, what's your social security number? She should go, I'm a teenager. I don't fucking know. Like,
where's my mom?
I would still have to look it up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know my social security number. Like, I as a teenager, I would be like, I don't know.
Ask my mom.
I don't know. I would be like, who really knows that off the top of their head? Like, you know. Fair. So, I mean, I know plenty of people do, but like, I don't. So if somebody asked me that, I would be like, it's in my phone. Like, it's just.
Yeah, she's like, I just made it up when I needed one, like if I got a job or something. And he's like, you're kind of young to have a job. And she's like, yeah, well, I didn't grow up here in New Salem, which is the little town they live in. She's like, I grew up in the real world. He's like, okay. And then he's like, okay, well, you mentioned your mom, so where's she? And she's like, oh, she died of an overdose. And he's like, how long ago was that? And it kind of flashes to Dakota going up to her mom's apartment, and she's wearing this awful bright red sweatshirt that has like tiger stripes on it. It was not good. But she walks up to her mom's apartment, and there's like a voiceover talking about how her mom's been dead for like 7 or 8 months, and she knew that like when payday came and her mom wasn't asking for money, she knew that something was wrong, kind of a thing. And so she goes into the apartment, and there's like flies buzzing, and her mom is just dead in the chair. And in her mom's hand is an envelope, and so she picks it up, and it like focuses on a New Salem postmark stamp, and there was like $11 inside a card or something.
Okay.
And so she kind of pulls that out and she puts it in her pocket, and then on the table, like under an ashtray, she sees a picture of herself when she was a little kid at the beach in a red swimsuit, and she kind of gets like choked up over that, right? And she turns to the psychiatrist and she's like, why do you even need to know my social security number? And he's like, it's just, you know, something we ask for. And she's like, you're the police, aren't you? And he's like, well, I am a psychiatrist, but I do work with the FBI, I'm not gonna lie. And she was like, well, I knew it, I have nothing to tell you. And she's like super bitter and angry like this whole time. And he's like, I just need the details of your case so that we can find the killer. And he's like, your injuries are identical to Jessica's. Like, not similar, identical. And she's like, okay, prove it. And so next we see her sitting in bed, and she's looking at the autopsy pictures. And Aubrey's mom comes in the room, and so she like shoves them under her blanket so the mom can't see them. And she's like, I brought you some of Aubrey's things to make you feel more at home. And she like pulls out a teddy bear, and she's like, oh, Mr. Teddy Bear, don't you remember your teddy bear? And Dakota's looking at her like, no, lady, no. And she like brings her iPod with her favorite music on it, and she's like, I've heard that music helps people come out of comas. And Dakota's just like, do I look like I'm in a fucking coma?
Okay, bitch.
I know. Okay. She's like so angry. And
I mean, she did have some body parts removed unwillingly, but that's still like, it's not this woman's fault. These people are just
trying to help you. Yeah. But she also pulls a picture of Aubrey out of the bag, and it shows her as a little girl at the beach in a blue and white striped swimsuit. Yeah. And Dakota looks at it, and she's like, where did you get this? And the mom's like, it's a picture of you. You were 7. We went to the beach for Christmas. We went to Hawaii and like all this stuff. And Dakota's like, it looks just like this picture. But she's like, but my swimsuit was red. And it wasn't Hawaii. It was like this dirty beach and blah, blah, blah. And she kind of just like talks herself out of it. And she's like, I guess a lot of girls just look alike when they're young, and just kind of like gives it back and dismisses it.
But you look exactly like
but you're you. Yeah. And the mom sees the autopsy pictures and like pulls them out and was like, what is this? And so she goes out and she's yelling at the lady detective for giving Aubrey the pictures, and she's like, we're just trying to get as much information as possible. Like, Aubrey is not safe until we find out who did this, and we are getting as much information as we can. And the mom is just like furious. We next see Dakota getting wheeled in to see these detectives, and he's like, I believe you know Phil and Julia, or whatever their names are. And she's like, yeah, they're my prison guards. Like, super meh about it, right? And they're like, can you give us any details about who cut you? And she's like, I don't know who cut me. And they like keep like giving her information. They're like, were you blindfolded? Well, you were locked up, so of course you might not have seen. I'm like, stop leading her with things, first of all. But they're like, how much do you know about how much do you remember about the past 2 weeks? And she's like, I remember everything. And they're like, well, that's kind of unusual. Why don't you kind of tell us about that? And she kind of pauses for a minute. And she's like, well, I started a new job at a gentleman's club. And she thought she was going to be the hostess. But when she got there, she realized that she was a dancer.
Don't they like switch off? Like they're...
Probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I don't know. But we kind of see her dancing again for a long, long time. And it shows, the club goers, and she talks about how there was a guy there that was kind of like weird, and she doesn't know like how often he showed up to watch her dance and all this stuff. And they do like this really awkward shot of this guy who's sitting right up next to the bar smoking, and she takes his cigarette away from him and like rubs it up her leg and across her lady parts, and then smokes it and give it back to him, and he like sniffs it. It was like,
none of that. No, thank you.
No. But anyway, so it does all these weird, shots. And then we see her walking to a bus stop, and she has this awful red glittery coat and a weird, like, those like hats from the 20s that just like kind of sit on the top of your head that are like not beanies, but they're not hats. It was like that. Okay. It was like white lace with like a red ribbon around it. Okay. I was like, what are you wearing? Okay.
Nobody wears shit like that anymore.
Yeah. But
you're a pretentious little bitch.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
But she is walking to the bus stop, and she keeps feeling like someone is following her, and she like hears noises behind her. And so she gets to the bus stop, and she's like feeling super uneasy, and she sees a guy across the street in a coat and a ball cap, and he's just kind of like standing in the shadows, right? And a car drives by and lights him up from behind, and then all of a sudden he's like in a different place down the road, like he switched spots.
Okay.
And it does a close-up of him wearing the blue gloves and like all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden he is right next to the bus stop, and it's like the kind that has like the partition, that you like stand underneath, and he's like on the other side of it, just like standing there. And so the bus pulls up right then, and so she like runs on, and she like looked where he was right before she got on, and we could see like his blue eye staring through the partition, right? So it was very dramatic. And so she's like, I didn't see his face, but I know that he was wearing blue gloves. And he's like, so you didn't see him when he cut you? Like, you were on amphetamines, you were awake. How did you not see him? And she's like, look, I'm not lying. I don't lie. I'm telling you everything I know. I don't know. I didn't see him. And so the lady detective is like, you need to stop playing games because we need to know the truth. And she's like, oh, you need to know the truth? Because I need to know the truth too. I don't know what happened. I almost died. Like, and she starts going off on them. And then next we see the psychiatrist at the police department, and he's talking about how it does seem kind of like Aubrey and Dakota are two different people, because usually there's some overlap in the stories, but these are like two completely different stories, right? And he says that it seems like she's not lying because she believes what she's saying, or, all that kind of stuff. And they kind of talk about how it seems like she's delusional, and she's like creating this alter ego to cope with what happened. And next we see the dad sitting on the couch that night, and he's watching TV, and the news pops up, and it's like, Aubrey has been found, and she was secretly held at the hospital, and like all this stuff. So apparently the news got out, and he's like, shit. And then we see,
I hate when news reports do stuff like that. Yeah, like, it's
why
like, first of all, okay, listen, I understand that we do, like, as people, we have a right to like know if things are going on, okay? However, if someone's life is still in danger, you're no.
Well, like at some point the cops are like, all of the doctors, we told them that they can't release information or else they're going to go to jail, kind of a thing. So, like, I don't know who it was, but someone did.
And, like, that just, like, that's someone's life still in danger. That, like, it's one thing if the police are like, we just don't want this getting out because we've done something stupid. But, like,
this is serious.
Like, she was supposedly taken by someone who's murdered somebody else, and she was found alive. You don't think this murderer wants to come back and maybe finish her off?
Oh, yeah.
Like, maybe?
Maybe.
Just, you think?
Just maybe.
Like,
yeah.
Fuck you. Shit like that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then we see Aubrey having a nightmare about the man cutting her with one of the blue instruments and being tied to the table, and he stabs her in the arm, and all of a sudden Aubrey in the hospital bed, or Dakota, gets a little cut in her arm and starts bleeding. And so, like, in her sleep, she was, like, grunting and groaning, and then she wakes up and she's realizing that she's bleeding, and so she starts freaking out. And the dad rushes in and, like, trying to comfort her, which doesn't make sense to me because I thought he was watching TV on the couch at home.
Yeah.
But maybe it was in the hospital bed in the room. I don't know. But he rushes in and he's, like, trying to calm her down, and she's like, don't touch me. And she's, like, freaking out and pushing him away. And he's trying to get the doctors in there, and they're trying to get him off, and he's like, don't touch me. It's my daughter. And like, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
But the next day we see Aubrey, and she's sitting in front of a mirror, or Dakota. I hate, it's stupid. She's
Lindsay.
She's sitting in front of a mirror, and she's looking at, you know, her arm and her leg. And she kind of like perks up and she's like, hi, I'm Aubrey Fleming. I enjoy sunsets, long walks on the beach, and playing piano. I have never seen the inside of a crack house or a strip club. I'm perfect, and I'm Aubrey. You know, like she's trying to put on this persona so that she can get out of the hospital. And we see a doctor come in, and he gives her a prosthetic hand, and he says that it has like sensors that pick up her nerves and stuff so that it moves. And then the doctor hands her this like skin glove. And it is like, it's just ridiculous, and she like wears it for the rest of the time, and so her hand is like this big plasticky skin glove hand, and it was nasty. And I'm sure they do that all the time, but it just did not look good.
Yeah. Well, they've gotten like, I don't know if you've seen prosthetics now, but like the silicone ones are like intense. They look
real
like it's crazy. So
yeah, this one did not.
Okay.
It was just like it didn't even have fingernails or anything. It was just like glove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then we see a quick clip of her doing physical therapy, and she's like walking on her new leg and all this stuff. And the doctor is like, hey, just don't forget you need to charge your foot or it will really feel like you're just dragging around some dead weight. And I was like, don't you just like strap it to your leg?
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to charge it?
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to have
I don't know.
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
What
like,
kind of futuristic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's coming into play later. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It was just dumb.
That was dumb.
Then we see a close-up of like red and blue police lights flashing, right? And the family is in a police car being escorted back to their house. And Dakota goes up into Aubrey's room to get settled in, and everything in her room is blue. Everything. Like, her walls are blue, her bedding is blue, there's like blue things scattered on her shelves. Like, so if you haven't picked up on it, everything Aubrey is blue, and everything red is Dakota.
Yes.
Okay, so that's...
I feel like Aubrey is a red color name, though.
Right?
Doesn't that, like...
I agree.
I feel like Dakota is a blue color name. Like, that's... I don't know, that's weird.
Yeah. But yeah, she's like, did Aubrey pick out the colors? And the parents were like, yeah, Aubrey picked out everything, you know. And they're just kind of, like, standing there awkwardly. And she, like, picks up a picture of Aubrey, and she's, like, skiing, and she's got, like, full blue outfit on, and, like, it's just too much. And Dakota's like, well, thanks for putting me up for a little while. And the parents are kind of like, yeah,
putting you up.
Not taking you home. Yeah. Definitely. And Aubrey's cat, which is a hairless cat, which I usually like, but this one is not very cute. But he comes up and starts like rubbing on Dakota's legs, and the dad is like, looks like we're not the only ones that are happy to see you. And she's like, I don't like cats.
Bitch.
I know. I was like, relax.
Right?
So
it's one thing to be a dog person, but it's one thing to hate cats. Yeah. Like,
I mean, some people. Yeah.
I'm a dog person, but I still like cats.
They're cute.
They're
I'm
way more allergic to cats, though, so that's why I just don't have one.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So the next day, we see Jared pull up to the house, and he has to, like, be let in by FBI agents that are stationed outside the house. And he goes in with a big bouquet of roses. And we just see him kind of, like, sitting in the living room, like, waiting. And Dakota comes in, and she's on crutches because she doesn't have her foot put on. And she is in a fully red outfit.
Where'd she get it?
I don't know.
Okay.
But okay, let me just describe this to you.
Okay.
So you know the little cropped vests that were super popular back then? So she has a red vest over a red tank top. Okay. And then red, like, short jean shorts. So it's just, like, head to toe, like a solid
red
red
even have, like, a
suit.
black tank top?
Right?
Like,
do you have to make it so obvious?
Yeah.
It was annoying. Like, if they had made it subtle, I would have been like, oh, there's all the clues that, you know, like, whatever. But no. So, yeah, she walks in, and they sit down, and he keeps kind of, like, he's, like, being super awkward, and he's, like, looking at her leg and, like, trying not to look at her leg, and she's like, my prosthetic's upstairs, like, this is what you get, kind of a thing. And she says that she keeps forgetting to charge it, because you need to charge your foot.
How much do you need to charge it, though?
But he never said anything about charging the hand.
Okay.
I'm like, that's the one that moves and, like, has sensors on it, so why? I don't know.
That's weird.
Weird. Yeah.
That's weird.
Just weird.
Weird.
Yeah. But anyway, she introduces herself as Dakota, and he's like, oh, hey, I'm Jared. And she's like, yeah, you must be the boyfriend, haha, you know. And they kind of sit in silence for a second, and he just kind of bursts out and is, like, super emotional, and he's like, I was supposed to protect you, and I just feel so bad. And, like, it was really sad. And she's just kind of sitting there, and she's like, I'm not Aubrey. I'm really not Aubrey. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not. And he, like, gets off of his chair and goes over to her on the couch and starts kissing her. And she bites him on the lip, right? But, like, in a sexy way, not like in a rude way. And she was like, Aubrey wouldn't do that, would she?
I don't know. Kind of like, she gave me so much, like,
never told
mixed messages. Yeah. I don't fucking know.
But they start kind of, like, making out on the couch. And the mom walks in. She's like, can I get you anything? Ah, ah. And Dakota immediately stands up, and she's like, we're going upstairs. And he's just kind of like, we are.
We are?
Okay. And she's like, are you coming? And so he starts to help her up the stairs with her crutches.
Hold on, though. So, first of all, so this girl claims to not be Aubrey.
Right.
Okay. And although he is, like, pretty sure she's Aubrey. Okay. If she was like, I'm not Aubrey.
Yeah.
What about girl code?
Right?
Like, I'm just going to make out with this girl who I'm not. Like, her parents are housing me right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sleep with her boyfriend.
Yeah. There's no girl code. Dakota's a bitch.
Dakota's a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, at least she's not flipping off gardeners for no reason. Oh, like, that's...
Like, maybe that was Dakota all
along. Maybe.
But as they're, like, starting to go upstairs, she turns around. She's like, oh, Susan, would you mind putting those roses in water for me? Thanks. And the mom was like, okay. So they go upstairs, and they start making out, and they bang. And it lasts for so long. It's like 2 minutes of just noises. And I read through some of the reviews. This movie is rated R, okay? And so many people were like, I thought this was going to be a skin flick, and Lindsay Lohan is a stripper, first of all, and never gets down further than her bra and panties. Never. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I don't care.
I don't need to see Lindsay Lohan like that.
It was just kind of, you know, it is kind of funny that they showed other people's boobs, like strippers and stuff, and they never showed hers. So I don't know if she was like, no.
I think she has like a high enough contract that she says she doesn't have to do that anymore. That's what Emilia Clarke did when she got famous enough in Game of Thrones. She was like, I only get naked when I want to get naked. So that's why you only see her naked.
Is Jason Momoa there? Then I'm not gonna
get
naked.
If he's not there, I'm not getting naked. Like, I'm sure that's what she said.
That's what I would say too, but, you know.
Well, he's single now, so.
True.
You know.
Hey, he's divorced.
Sad for him, but.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, yeah.
No, sorry. Yeah. So they're upstairs, and they're doing their thing, right? And the mom, the whole time, is downstairs in the kitchen, and she can hear them. But instead of leaving and going into another room, she's just, like, leaning on the counter, like, listening, and, like, scrubbing angrily at the sink, and then, like, just being frustrated. I'm like, leave the kitchen.
Yeah.
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
Here's an idea.
I'm sure she's just frustrated that she's like, Aubrey would never do this. Right? Like, you know.
Yeah.
So
but I'm like, it's very loud, and you don't have to sit here and listen. You're doing this to yourself.
Right. Also, bitch for being that loud in someone else's house. Yeah. Like,
Well, like, the guy was being just as loud.
Yeah.
Like, it was, yeah.
Okay, I also know, like, when the mood hits, okay?
Sure.
But also, like, they show movies all the time where people are, like, in someone else's home, and it's not an appropriate moment. No. And that's what they're doing. Yeah. And I'm like...
Control yourself.
Yeah. Like...
Yeah.
Oh! Anyway. Yep.
Yeah. So the mom hears the whole thing. And I even typed, leave the kitchen, Susan! But
come on, Susan.
Yeah. There is a full 2 minutes of sex noises, okay? And then when they're done, they are, like, laying there in the bed, and Dakota lights up a cigarette, and Jared goes, Aubrey, why are you doing this? And she's like... Did Aubrey ever fuck you like that? Did Aubrey ever fuck you at all? It's like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he's like, I will call you Dakota if that's what you want to be called. But if you're not Aubrey, how are you all cut up like this? And she's like, I don't know. I can't explain it. And then it goes to a scene where we see Dakota.
Well, I just gotta say, at least he doesn't have a problem with her, like, being, you know,
like, if you're gonna be this person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you're just an amputee.
Yeah.
An amputee. Like, at least he doesn't have a problem with that. Because a lot of people would be like, ooh, I'm out. Like, you know, so that's good guy.
But so now, like, as she's, you know, she's like remembering this. So we see Dakota and she's showering and she's kind of like scrubbing her hair, and all of a sudden one of her fingers starts hurting. She's like, oh, ow. And she holds up her hand and her middle finger goes black and it like starts to split and get like all pussy and like nasty as if it were being frozen, right? And she kind of just ignores it. And she starts to get ready to go out and dance, and she like puts on her gloves and she's in her outfit and she starts taking whatever pills, I don't know what they were, and she swigs them down with wine, of course. And we go out and we see the dance scene from before where the blood is like coming out of her glove and all this stuff. And she goes backstage and she takes her gloves off and her finger falls out of the glove. Oh my gosh. Okay? And so she freaks out and she like wraps her hand up in a towel and she passes out on the floor. And when she wakes up, the manager of the strip club is there, and there's another dancer like standing over her, and she's like, that's where I found her. I found her just like this. And Tina is the manager. And she's like, what happened to your hand, kiddo? And the other dancer's just like, she lost a lot of blood. She can die from that much blood. And Tina's like, leave. Yeah. Go away. Go dance. And so she walks away and she's like, okay, what happened? And Dakota's like, oh, I was out in the back alley having a drink and I dropped the glass and I must have cut myself on the pieces, you know.
Your finger is gone.
Yeah. And she's like, how are you going to get to the hospital? And Dakota's like, hospitals are for rich people. I'll figure it out. I'm not going there. Okay. And the lady's like, well, how are you going to get home? And she was like, I'll figure it out. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. And so it shows her sitting on the bus. And there's this random guy on the bus that's like, you need to hold it higher than your heart. And she's like, what? And he's like, your hand. You need to hold it higher than your heart. And so she kind of like lifts it up and she has like another towel wrapped over it. And she's like, aren't you going to ask me what happened?
Bitch, I don't care. I'm just telling you. I'm just giving you some advice.
Yeah. And he goes, people get cut. That's life. Right?
Okay, dude.
Yeah. And then
screws fall out all the time. The world's an imperfect place.
Good reference.
Yeah, thank you.
But then it kind of fades back to like present day Dakota, and she turns to Jared and she's like, people get cut all the time. That's life. You know, and she tells him that and he's like, Jesus. Okay. Yeah. And she's like, what do you want me to say? My finger got cut off, but no one did it. Who's going to believe me? You don't even believe me. And he's like, no, yeah, I do. Of course I do, you know. And then she cries out and she's like, oh, my foot, it hurts. And so he goes and he like touches the one that she still has. And he's like, oh, what's wrong? And she's like, no, it's the other one. It's phantom limb pain, right? And she's like, it's enough to make you believe in ghosts. I was like, stop talking.
Stop. Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
But she doesn't. She
pretentious
keeps talking.
bitch.
And she goes, maybe that's why ghosts are so restless. There's nothing left of what they were except for the pain.
Pretentious bitch.
Right? But she's like, Jared, I need your help. And then it cuts. And we see him and he runs outside and he tries to get in his car to leave, but his car won't start. And so he goes around and he's like asking the FBI agents if any of them have a condom. Because earlier when they started to have sex, she like pulled out one and she's like, there's only one. You better make it last, you know? And none of them have one. They're like laughing at him. They're like, whatever, kid, you know?
I can't believe he asked.
Right? Like how desperate.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. But there's a whole point to it.
Okay.
So he runs back into the house and he comes out and gets in Aubrey's car and he goes to pull away and the FBI agents let him through. And then we see him open the trunk and he lets Dakota out. And they are at Jessica's parents' house. And she goes inside and the dad is kind of just like super awkwardly sitting there while the mom is getting a tray of tea ready. And she brings it out and she starts to pour it, but she kind of like shakes and spills some. And she obviously gets very frustrated and she turns and she's like, why are you here? You're the one alive. They're very upset, obviously. Yeah. And she's like, you're not cooperating with the police and we need to find the monster who did this. And the mom just gets super frustrated and leaves. And the dad is like, I'm sorry. We know that you're not here to torture us or anything like that. And she says that she just wants to see Jessica's room. She's like, seeing her room will be enough. And he's like, what?
Okay.
All right. So they go up to her room and she starts to look around. And there are so many, first of all, porcelain dolls everywhere, which is just, no, don't do that. But there are so many things that are very obviously red and blue, okay? So there's like, it's like they went to a thrift store and they were like, whatever you can find. Red and blue, put it in there. Yeah. So there's just random shit all over the place. And like my favorite, there was these two like nondescript bottles of like red and blue liquid just sitting on one of her tables. Like, make it look like a body spray. Yeah. Make it look like
perfume or something. Yeah.
It was just like a clear bottle with a black cap filled with this liquid. Okay. I was like, okay, people.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, teenagers are weird, but they're not that weird.
Come on. Yeah. But she's like peeking around, looking through stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what she thinks she's going to find. Yeah. But okay. Okay. She's looking on the shelves and she notices that there's the same trophy that Aubrey has. And I think it's the like Young Music Award, whatever trophy. And she is trying to reach for it, but she can't quite get it. And as she is reaching, Aubrey's mom comes in and like grabs her arm and she's like, Aubrey, what are you doing here? And like takes her out. So I guess maybe the FBI realized that she left or something, right? So they take her outside and she's like, I'm just trying to figure out who killed Jessica because he might still have Aubrey and we need to figure out where Aubrey is and find this killer and all this stuff. And the dad is just like, shut up, Aubrey. Yeah. Shut up about it. We're done with it. And we switch back to the police department and one of the detectives is like, the DNA test came back. But the lady detective is on the computer with the same hard drive as Aubrey's. And he's like, don't you even want to see what the results are? And she was like, let me show you what I found first. And so she tells him that she found a story called Dakota. Okay. And Dakota, in the story, she like reads this part where she sees hospital records that she has a twin sister that she never knew about and how she needs to find her. And the detectives are basically like, so she's living out this Dakota life in her brain because of the trauma and the blah, blah, blah. And the lady detective is like, okay, so what about the DNA test? And he's like, yeah, they came back identical. Like, this is just delusion, right? Next, we see this weird ass dream that Dakota has. Okay. And the guy from the bus is in Dakota's room. He says, higher than your heart, like he did before. And he takes off his shirt. And we see this tattoo on his chest of like a red anatomical heart. And it has a blue rose at the top and angel wings out the sides. Okay? Okay. And as he's talking, he's like, right and left, rest and motion, peace and war, love and hate. And like as he's talking, the wings are like fluttering and shimmering and the heart is beating and like all this weird shit. And then he says, sometimes people get cut, sometimes people get cut in half. And like as he says that, his chest, there's like it like splits open in places, like it's ripping apart, and we see a blue eyeball like peering out. And it was like Mad Eye Moody is just like flicking around, like looking all over the place. And I assume it was the guy from the bus stop's eye. That's like what it makes you think of, I guess.
I feel like I need to watch this movie now to see
it's
like
weird.
To see the trip that you're on right now.
Yeah, like, I mean it's worth watching, I would say, but it's weird. Okay. And then she like wakes up panting and freaking out. So she lights up a cigarette and she goes over and sits down at Aubrey's laptop. And when she opens it, it's like, you need to log in, right? This is Aubrey's computer. So she puts in a password, and the correct password is Dakota. Lowercase. Nothing else. Dakota. In 2007, you know about security. Yeah. Like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. Like, I would rather you, like, rifle through a drawer and find a Post-it note with a password on it. Yeah. Dakota.
Whatever. Bullshit.
So, yeah.
And why would you make your password something that you're, like,
writing a story about?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so... Like, does she change her password all the time?
Depending on the story? Like, this one's about Anna. I don't know. Why? It was dumb. And I was like, the fact
that's like that having Dakota, your password.
Like, why would she think her name... She doesn't know about the story.
She doesn't. No.
She doesn't know anything. No. So I'm just going to type my name in there and see what happens. Why? No.
I would have been like, Aubrey.
Yeah. Like, or like her birthday. Yeah. Or something.
Something.
Yeah. It was stupid.
Right? Everybody's password is something relatable to them. Yeah. So
you would think. But this part aged me deeply. Oh. It hurt so much.
Oh, because this did come out in 2007. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay.
So she pulls up the internet and we see Ask Jeeves.
Oh!
Ask Jeeves.
Oh! I just got chills on my legs. I know,
it's bad. Ask Jeeves? When was the last time anyone went to that website?
Is it still a website?
I don't know. Probably not.
We should Google it later.
We should Google Ask Jeeves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, oh, let's go to Ask Jeeves to find shit.
No,
Like,
that's like Bing.
Yeah.
No one likes Bing. No one uses Bing.
No one uses Bing. You
No.
use Bing if you're like, it's the same
It's
as
the
using
default.
Internet Explorer when you're wanting, or not, Internet Explorer or Firefox to not get caught looking up something.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Like,
So she pulls up Ask Jeeves and she types in unexplained bleeding wounds and she gets this result of stigmata, which I've heard of, but I didn't really know what it was. And basically it's when people get these wounds that are unexplained, but they correspond with Jesus's wounds. Okay, so it's a very religious thing. But then she clicks on this video and there is this guy talking about, it's like he does this as a series and it's like the mysteries of the mind and blah, blah, blah. And it seemed like it was a real thing, but I'm not sure. But he talks about stigmatic twins, okay? And he talks about how this twin, Jacob, was in a bar fight and he got shot in the base of the neck. And at the same time, his twin got a puncture wound in the exact same spot. And they figured that the twin had done it to himself, but they didn't have a way to explain how it was exactly the same size and exactly the same spot. And so she's like thinking about her wound in her arm that suddenly appeared. And, you know, obviously she must have a twin somewhere. So the mom knocks on the door and she's like, hey, I saw your light on, so I decided to come in. And she sees that Dakota is smoking. And so she takes the cigarette away and she's like, this is a non-smoking house. And then she takes a drag before putting it out. I was like, okay.
Okay, well, if I'm dealing with this bitch, like, I will take up smoking.
Yeah. But Dakota just kind of like brings it up and is like, I think I'm Aubrey's twin sister. And the mom is like, look, you're just in the middle of a bad dream and you're going to wake up at some point and realize that none of this is true. Like, that can't be happening. And so it shows them downstairs and the mom has pulled up an ultrasound video and she's like, look, there's one of you. There's not two babies in there. I know. I pushed you out. You know? The mom talks about how she fell when she was pregnant and that she had to be on bed rest for the last 6 weeks. And that when Aubrey was born, she was like taken away as soon as she came out because she needed immediate care and she didn't get to see her baby or hold her for the first 2 days and like all this stuff. And at the same time that they're talking, we can see Daniel kind of like listening in the background, but he doesn't like say anything. He's just kind of creeping. And the mom talks about how she's like, I'm not trying to, you know, hurt you or anything. I just want you to know the truth that you really are my daughter and all of this stuff. And Dakota's like, you don't believe me. You don't believe that I'm not Aubrey. And the mom is like, well, it doesn't really matter what I believe because I know that you're a fighter, whoever you are, and that we're going to make it through this and that, you know, I will be with you every step of the way.
Aww.
And like Dakota with her crackhead mom is kind of like, okay, and like starts crying a little bit and they have like a little moment. We see Dakota back up in her bedroom and she sees the trophy up on the very top of the shelf. So she steps up on a stool and she goes to reach for the trophy, but as she's doing this she hears like her name being whispered and an owl hooting, and so she's like, what the fuck? And so she looks around and there's a full-length mirror next to her and we see her face looking back at her, but it's wearing like an old-fashioned like high-collar wedding dress and a veil. Okay. And she's like, what the fuck? And so we see Aubrey in a wedding dress kneeling on the ground outside and the kidnapper smacks her in the face with a shovel.
Ooh.
And at the same time, Dakota gets knocked off the stool and her nose starts bleeding.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And then she's like laying on the floor watching this happen and she sees Aubrey in the mirror get dragged through the dirt. And the blue roses in her room start to wilt and like fall off and it looked like Beauty and the Beast, you know, type thing. And the petals flutter into the mirror, okay? And then there's like this stream of water that we can see through the mirror also, and the petals fall into the water and start flowing downstream. Okay. So Dakota goes downstairs and she finds the dad drinking in his study. And she's like, I know what you did. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I know that Susan's daughter died and you went down the hall and bought a twin from the crackhead down in the hospital and you put her baby in Susan's baby's incubator. I know that Aubrey is actually my twin.
How do you know that?
Okay. I don't know.
How do you know that?
I don't know. And he's like, no, Aubrey, like, no, that's not happening. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, she doesn't know, but the DNA, like, matches, so, like...
Yeah. And he's like, you were kidnapped, and you've been through a lot of trauma. We're gonna figure this out. Everything's okay. And she's like, no, I know what you did. And she's, like, yelling at him. And she's like, I saw the envelope with the New Salem postmark. You think you can just send her some money every month, and she's not gonna say anything, and, like, all this stuff? And he's like, stop. Like, this needs to be done. And he's like, I'm gonna get some ice for your nose because
I'm
they're
only
still
sending
like
you
bleeding.
$11,
right?
Like,
I was like, what is that? No.
Okay.
And like, it didn't show the rest of the envelope, so it'd be one thing if it said his name or like something, but it just said New Salem. That could be literally anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, he starts to walk off, and she is like, Aubrey lost her middle finger first, and so did I. And he's like,
okay.
what?
Good job.
And she's like, oh, it shows Aubrey when her hand, or not Aubrey, Dakota, when her finger was fallen off, right? And her hand is all wrapped up, but she fell asleep in bed, and when she wakes up, her hands are covered in blood, and she's like, what the fuck? And we see that her leg has like a huge cut in it.
Ooh.
Okay. Then we see Dakota walking along the highway, hitchhiking, and a trucker drives by, right? And so she tries to flag him down, and there's a voiceover, and I think it's Dakota saying, I mean, it's Aubrey Dakota, you know, whatever. And she's like, I always felt like half a person, but I didn't realize that I was actually missing a twin. And like, she decided to trust her gut and come out to New Salem. And that's when she was found in a ditch. And we get back to present day Dakota, and she tells the dad that they need to find Aubrey because everything that happens to Aubrey happens to Dakota, which means she's still alive because she's feeling all of these pains, right? Dakota asks the dad if he's going to help her find Aubrey, and he's like, I can't risk losing this. And she's like, you know what? Go fuck yourself, basically, and walks away.
Okay.
I was like, what is happening?
Like, how are you supposed... Okay, the police are still trying to find this guy.
Yeah.
So, like, they are actively looking.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? Like...
Right? So we see her walking down the road at night, and we get a shot of the kidnapper closing a coffin made entirely of blue and clear glass with a big blue rose on the lid. I agree. And we see Dakota walking again, and her foot beeps because the battery's getting low.
Wouldn't you know?
Wouldn't you know it? And so we see her walking through the graveyard, and we get a clip of the kidnapper digging a grave, and then we can see the person in the coffin like next to him is still breathing. And then Dakota gets to this fresh-ish grave, and there's like blue flowers on the grave, and the headstone says Aubrey Fleming.
Oh.
And she starts like crying, and then lightning flashes, and we see that it's actually Jessica's grave. And so she's like,
okay.
Yeah. And then she sees a blue ribbon, like you won an award, blue ribbon, sitting on the grave. And so she picks it up, and it's like the Young Music Award, whatever, ribbon type thing, I guess. Okay. And on the back of
the other ones were trophies, and this
was
a ribbon? Okay.
I don't get it. But it said like YA on the front.
Okay.
So I guess it's the young.
Okay.
I don't know. She turns it over, and on the back someone wrote, blue ribbons are for winners. Never settle for the red. Rest in peace, Douglas. And she says out loud, this fucking part. So we see Dakota's face on the left half of the scene. Okay. And then we see Aubrey's veiled face on this half of the screen. And Dakota's all red, and Aubrey's all blue. And together they read this out loud. Blue ribbons are for winners. Never settle for the red. Rest in peace, Douglas. Okay?
Okay. Is Douglas the piano teacher? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So they say it at the same time. And then we see that the kidnapper is like throwing dirt on top of the coffin. And apparently Dakota knows who killed her now, right? Or killed, because whatever. And Dad walks up behind Dakota in the graveyard, and he's like, it's just me. And she turns around, she's like, I know who killed me. Roll credits. And he takes the ribbon from her. I know, they said the name. He takes the ribbon from her, and he seems to understand exactly what happened, and he like squeezes it in his fist angrily, right? And then we see Dakota and the dad driving, and the dad says something about how they shouldn't be doing this without letting someone know where they're going.
Okay, then do that.
And Dakota says, we don't have enough time. Like, to pull out your cell phone while you're driving
and call
and tell somebody?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Okay, and there's a lot of people that are like, it was 2007, maybe they didn't have a cell phone.
They did.
The second car phones became a thing, my dad had one. Yeah. Like, he was like, look how cool this is. It straight up had the curly cords, like into the car, and like
2007, we had like razors. We had like sidekicks. We had things.
Yeah,
like,
we had things.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I had my mint chocolate back then.
Probably.
No, maybe 2007 I had the flip phone. But still, like,
yeah.
we had cell phones.
So then they're driving in the car and we hear Aubrey whisper, Dakota, there's not enough air. And all of a sudden Dakota starts struggling to breathe. Okay. And the dad is like, you're having a panic attack. Calm down. Everything's going to be okay. And they pull up to the house of this guy and they stop and the dad is like, I'm sorry for not believing you and like all this stuff. And he goes out and gets a tire iron out of the trunk and he sneaks up to the house. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, the front door of this house, okay, was a normal door for the most part, except for the giant fucking stained glass blue rose in the door. In the middle. It wasn't even like at the top.
Just in the middle of the door.
Just in the middle of the door.
What pretentious asshole.
This guy. This artiste, man.
I guess.
So we see Dakota, who's still sitting back in the car.
How expensive that door must have been?
So much.
So
how did
much
he
money.
make that coffin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless he's, like, because he's an artiste, unless he's blowing his own glass. Like, that's...
I mean, he made all those tools, I assume. Unless there's some weird sex shop you can get them off of.
Yes. I don't... He's, like, there's one glass blower in the whole town, and he's like, I have the greatest customer of all time. Like,
that Douglas, man.
Yeah.
He's great.
I don't know why he keeps asking me to make him bone saws made out of blue glass, but...
But who cares? I get paid. It's fine. So Dakota's still sitting in the car, and she's having, like, this flashback of Aubrey playing in the blue and white swimsuit in the ocean, right? And then we also see little Dakota playing in her red swimsuit in the water, and it like goes back and forth. And we hear the guy from the bus say that there are two halves to everything, and so we hear someone whisper Douglas. And
I like that she's taking advice from a crack addict on the bus. Like,
it was this random guy, and she's like, that means something.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so prophetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, thanks for the advice about putting my hand up. That made sense. But, you know, thank you for preaching to me, sir, about this. Like,
but that part she made up. Like, all he said was people get cut. Like, the whole halves thing was a dream. So what drugs are you on? And why can't I have some?
Right?
So we're hearing all these whispers and stuff, right? And we see Aubrey's hand getting cut on the table. And then we see Dakota's finger turning black. And then we see little Dakota at the beach. And she gets her hand cut. And she starts screaming. And then the other little girl starts screaming because she gets the stigmata cut, I guess. They don't really show anything happening. She just starts, like, screaming. And Dakota is sitting there in the car. And she's like, Aubrey, just focus on your breathing. Just breathe. Everything's gonna be okay. Just breathe.
Is she saying this out loud?
Yes. Of course she is. And so she gets out.
Well, I guess the dad's not in the car anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I would have been like...
the fuck?
Okay.
So she gets out and she starts sneaking up to the house. And she notices the blue glass rose on the front door because who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And, like, the light is, like, streaming out and it's, like, reflected on the porch and stuff, right? So she goes out back and there's, like, this shed situation and she opens the door, but it's so dark that she doesn't realize that there's like a bucket right there, and so she kicks it and it falls down the stairs. So she's like, shit, and she sees Douglas's shadow. She kicks the bucket. She sees his shadow in the window kind of like looking out, and so she like hides, and we hear this weird noise and we see that there's like a possum in the backyard. And so he assumes that whatever it was the possum, and he walks away. So she heads back inside the shed. And she goes downstairs, and on her way down, there's just, like, a bloody blue glass hatchet just, like, chilling, like, next to the stairs that she picks up. I'm like, why would you leave that?
Yeah.
If you're being looked for.
Yeah.
But anyway, she picks that up, and she goes down, and she opens the door, and his gloved hand, like, reaches through. So she grabs his wrist with her freaking iron hand and holds it and, like, pushes the door closed and starts chopping off his hand. Like, sawing off his wrist. With the hatchet that she had. Yeah. And so he's, like, yelling and freaking out. And once his hand drops to the floor, he pulls his arm away.
Well, it's a real good thing this is the killer. Like,
yeah, right? What if that was, like, the dad or something? But he had the gloves on, so. But she hears him, like, walk away and go up the stairs and close a door. And so she goes through the door, and she walks down some stairs, and she sees all of these prosthetic legs hanging from the ceiling. And it's seriously like, you know, like in kids' fun houses when they have like noodles hanging from the ceiling? It's like walking through those. Like there's just dozens of them. Okay. And so she walks through and she's like, what the fuck? And she hears Douglas yelling and groaning from upstairs as she's walking through, and she sees the table with a body lying on it, and there's like a plastic tarp over it. It's like see-through, but you can't see anything, right? And she pulls it back, and the dad is laying on the bed.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she's like trying to wake him up, and she's like, you have to come with me. Come on, like we're not doing this right now. And he's like, Aubrey? And she's like, yeah,
let's go.
It's me. Let's go. You gotta come. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And then he dies.
Oh.
Yeah. So it focuses on Dakota's face, and she's obviously like, oh, yeah. And then it shows that the man, Douglas, is standing right behind her. And she kind of realizes, and so she like slowly starts to turn around, and she just like swings the hatchet around, but she misses him. And he knocks her to the ground, and he like grabs his stump of an arm and is like, ah! And just like yells to the heavens. So I don't know if he like hurt himself when he hit her or what, but we can see that he is also wearing a blue face mask. That's like, he looks like he could be a member of the Blue Man Group at this point, right? Okay. Like, it's like one of those like Halloween skin suits.
Okay.
Don't know if he's like, I don't want my victims to see me. Okay. I don't know.
All right.
So he is upstairs now, and we see his hand sitting in a bowl of ice in the kitchen. And we hear the piano just being like banged on, and there's like a bloody trail of like his gloves and a hat leading into the living room where he's playing the piano, and he's just like, bah, 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 like just upset.
Okay. Why did you even bother putting your hand on ice if you're gonna
not
gonna go to the hospital? Yeah, like. Yeah.
Oh, he's also wearing a blue button-up shirt because of course he is.
Of course, yes.
And we see Dakota,
fucking hard on for the color blue,
who is tied up in the basement, and she's like tied like to the legs of, I think, the surgery table, so she's like underneath it, and she sees some instruments up on the table, and she tries to reach up and grab one, and then it cuts to Douglas, who is coming down the stairs with his arm wrapped in a towel, and he walks into the room, and as he like walks through the fake legs, he like rubs his face on them and like kisses one of them. I'm like, what is happening? What the fuck is going on?
He likes the fake legs.
I guess. But he walks up to her, and he's like, why did you come back here? You should be dead by now. And he's like, I buried you. I don't know how you got out. And the whole time he's like touching her with one of his crazy blue knives, right? And he goes to stab her, and she rolls sideways because she was able to get out of her bindings. And she stabs him in the stomach and then in the throat. Okay. I think it was like the crazy corkscrew.
Oh, okay.
One. Yeah.
All right.
And instead of just dropping to the ground immediately because you got stabbed in the fucking throat, he like walks away and just kind of like walks through the legs and is like contemplating his entire existence, right? And as he's about to drop, he like hugs two legs and just like drops and pulls them to the ground.
Okay.
Dramatic. Yeah. So
he's an artiste. He needs to die artistic as well.
Yes, artistic.
Artistic. Oh my
gosh. Yeah. So Dakota leaves, and we see her walking through the woods with a shovel, and her foot is beeping, and she's like dragging it through the dirt and the leaves and all the stuff, you know. And we hear the same owl as before, and we can hear water trickling in the stream. Okay. So she knows where to dig, I guess.
Okay.
And so she starts digging. And she finally gets down to the glass coffin. And she takes her mechanical hand and she smashes a hole through the front. Okay. It's a good thing the person was veiled.
Yeah.
Okay. So she smashes a hole in it, and Aubrey pulls back her veil, and they just kind of like stare at each other for a minute. And Aubrey like starts crying. And so Dakota pulls her out of the hole. And then the next scene, we see Aubrey laying there in the dirt in her weird wedding dress with her hands just kind of like on her stomach. And she's just laying there. And then Dakota comes and curls up next to her, and they just lay there in the dirt. And then the camera like pans away up into the sky, and we see the stream, and it fades to black. The end. Questions?
You finish.
I don't think I have anything else to give.
What are your scores?
I don't know. It's like, so they were twins?
How were they twins?
Parent trap what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the dad was like, no. The mom was like, no.
He really did replace their dead baby with a twin.
Okay.
So they really were twins.
Sure, but like, where were they getting the DNA from? Were they like, here's her
twins
toothbrush?
Have identical DNA.
Well, yeah, but where are they getting the DNA from? From the parents or from the, like, do they have a toothbrush?
Oh, yeah, they must have had something.
Because you can get the familial DNA to be like, yeah, this is close enough related, that's got to be a daughter of yours. Or like, that's got to be...
I mean, maybe it was like a hairbrush or something,
probably,
yeah.
Like, but...
But yeah, so like the whole fucking time they were twins and they had just had this weird psychic connection and this stigmata bullshit.
I can understand maybe the little bit of the psychic connection because we don't fully understand twins, and there's plenty of twins that say that they understand when their other twin is doing something.
Yeah.
How did the mirror work?
Fuck me. I don't know.
Okay.
Like was it a dream?
Yeah. Was it just like what she was hearing and so it was what she was imagining?
She like manifested it in front of her face? I don't know. It was trippy, man. And like the whole time I did not expect twins to be the real answer. No. I was like, there's no way that's happening. No. And then they laid next to each other and I was like, that's two people.
Yeah.
They're both, what? She really was being held prisoner in this hospital. Uh-huh. She really didn't know who Daniel and Susan were. She was like, okay, people, like, whatever. I just, what?
I am blown away.
Yeah. So filming was actually done really well. Mm-hmm. So I gave that a 7. For story, it was just, like, it was dumb and weird. And I tied it in with the styling, which I hated. All the blue and all the red, if it had been more subtle, it would have been so much better. And like, also we didn't even need it. Yeah. Except for maybe to kind of help tell who is who. But if you're not doing that through your storytelling, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. So I gave that a 3 because I hated it the whole time. It was so much. Every outfit was red. Every outfit was blue. Everything. It was just... It was annoying.
I hate that the dad had to die for that. Like...
Yeah. And like, why did the piano teacher put her in a wedding dress? Yeah. Why did the piano teacher have fucking prosthetic legs? Yeah. Why was he a glass freak? Yeah. Why the roses? Yeah. And why did he sell the roses on the side of the street? Yeah. Like, why?
Was it like a sign for him that he saw the blue rose and he's like, there's my next victim? Like... Right? Oh, it's a very good thing that she had a fucking twin. Yeah. Also, okay, if you're getting all cut up and shit, okay, like, and, like, you think, oh, if I have a twin and she's being injured and I need to go find her some shit and I'm over here, how did you get there? Right. If you're injured, like, are the injuries delayed? Are they, what's happening? Like, that.
And, like, the phantom foot pain, I guess, was him. It couldn't be him. Because he'd already chopped off her leg. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. It's a good thing she did some Ask Jeevesing.
Seriously.
Because that's what saved the day, I guess. And it's like the crack addict mom, like you bought a baby from her and I know that I was a twin. Like, what? Yeah. How did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah. How did you find that out specifically? Yeah. Like that?
Like, I thought when the mom was like, I didn't even see my baby, blah, blah, blah. I was like, maybe she was so out of it that there really were twins, but one of them didn't make it, or they did get split up, or like something. But there really is only one in the ultrasound.
Or, so, for half a second, when you said the dad was, like, listening in, I was like, oh my gosh, did he have an affair with the crack addict? And so, like, they were siblings, but, like...
Not twins.
Yeah, but, like, it was, like, their soul had been separated, not kind of a thing. You know, like, that would have... Because when the mom said that she fell, it could have caused something to, like, I would have been like, oh, yeah, the baby's soul split in half and, like, went to its nearest, like, relative. Like, I could have seen something like that. That would have been weirder than twins. Yeah. But, like, at the same time, like...
Also, with the psychic connection thing, I can kind of get why Aubrey would be writing a story about Dakota and be obsessed with Dakota.
But why would you
did she tell the fucking future about her hitchhiking to come here?
Yeah, because how would you have done
after being cut up?
Yeah.
No.
How would you have done that? No. How would you have done that? Yeah, that is impossible.
Are you a future teller?
Yeah.
Future teller? Fortune teller? Like, what?
Same thing. But,
like, I don't know. They were trying to go so hard, and they just dove down so far.
Yeah. So, what about the acting?
The acting was okay. I mean, Lindsay Lohan, you know, like, I love Mean Girls. I love Parent Trap. I love Freaky Friday. Yeah. But they're not works of art.
No, they're supposed to be a little hokey. Yeah. So, like, they're supposed to be a little cheesy, overacting and stuff. Like,
a lot of the reviews were complaining about the acting way more than I would have. I thought it was fine. I gave it a 5 because it was just kind of like mediocre. But everyone was like, oh, there was nothing to work with. And I don't know. So I was like, whatever. And then for effects, I gave it an 8 because that shit was nasty. Yeah. Like the blackened skin and like the pus and the cutting and like it was, I am not a person who watches those kinds of movies. Yeah. And I was like, no.
But what are they going to do? Okay, what are they going to do when they go home and the boyfriend's like, oh my gosh, I slept with your twin?
Yeah. And he leaves and then we never see him again.
Okay.
After he drops her off at Jessica's house, we don't see him again.
Okay.
Like, so what happened? Okay.
Okay.
Not that it really matters, but like, where did he go? It was just a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Because, like, that's, I mean, besides the fact that your dad just got murdered and, like, I just...
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Okay.
That's that movie.
I can suspend disbelief for certain things.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot.
I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it. Definitely go if you need a good mind fuck, because it was trippy. It was weird. It was on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super hooray.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
We love you so much. Have a great time.
Have a great time. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Let us know what you think by leaving a comment or sending us an email at bmoviebashpodcast@gmail.com.
You can listen to our episodes on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, and Audible, or you can find the video versions on our YouTube channel.
If you want to support the podcast, you can find our Ko-fi link on our Anchor page. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends.